Two good things that happened. I ordered some chucks for the lathe. I ordered a 12-inch and a 10-inch chuck. So here's the 12-inch. I cleaned it up. It turns really well on all the threads. It's actually in really good condition. It's used. It's a little older. It's a Crushman. Yeah, Crushman chucks. So there's the one that I really need to center stuff, and I can self-adjust it and get it nice and true. The negative thing is I bought two because they were a really, really good deal, and they were supposed to be the same mounting surface, which is a D1-6 is the mounting surface I have. It's got a cam lock on it. But the other one, which is a self-adjusting 6-jaw, and I was excited about that because I've never had a 6-jaw. This is the one that came in, it's a 10-inch. The problem with it is the mounting plate on the back is a bigger mounting plate, which is a D1-8. I know, you guys are probably like, what in the world does that mean? I'm figuring it out too. So it looks good, it really does, it's just old. They're both Crushman, and I don't know if that's a good brand or not. It looks like it's a fairly decent brand. So I went online, I was trying to find, is there any way that I can mount the back plate, change it from a D1-8 to a D1-6. Here is the plate. As you can tell, that's a bigger diameter. Here's the 3-jaw that came with the lathe, and that's the right mounting bracket on the back. So this here, when I say like a D1-6, this is the type of series. It's a D series with cam lock, and the 6 is the size with like 7/8 pins. This is an 8, they're bigger pins, and it's a bigger opening, it won't fit. But on eBay I found an adapter that I can machine and bolt, well I have to machine it first and then bolt it to that 10-inch 6-jaw chuck for like 118 bucks. So it wasn't too bad. But you're probably thinking like, well, why'd you buy two? You just need one. Basically for 200 bucks more, I get 2 chucks instead of just one. So I was like, okay, well now it's gonna be like 300 bucks more to get 2 chucks. So now that I got that on, I have to still tighten it down. I want to make sure it fit. I do have a slight problem that I gotta fix. When I pressed in the bushing here, it was just, I mean, it was right there. It was just a little bit oversized. And when I pressed it in, it squeezed the bushing just ever so slightly, like smaller. So that means that won't fit into here. It was like beautiful on the bench. It fit perfectly. So now what I gotta do is I don't really wanna machine this bushing because it's so nice and pretty. I'm talking like maybe 2/1000 of an inch is what I need to take off. So I'm gonna chuck this back up and I'm gonna take about 2/1000, maybe 3/1000 off, and then try it and see how it fits. So we'll take that planetary housing, planetary, whatever they call it. We'll stick it back in here. I'm gonna use my 4-jaw chuck, which is awesome. And that's the wrong key. And as you can tell, I can adjust each one and get it very precise. So I'm super giddy about that. And this thing is really nice and clean. I mean, it's a little older on the outside, but there's like not very much uses on it. Now, another thing too that I was super excited about, if you notice there's slots here on each one of, there's 4 of them. So let's just say if I have a odd piece of material that I could bolt to the lathe, instead of chucking it in the jaws, I can take a piece like, I don't know if this will actually work, I might have to get the right ones. These look small. But I can take these things, oh, they actually will work. Slide them in, and then I can bolt whatever I want to that. And then that way I can machine whatever I need to do. So in the future, and I gotta think always for the future, you never know the possibilities or things that are gonna come up. So I was super jacked about that when I saw it. I'm like, oh yes, I want that, okay. But I think at this point, I am going to get ready to mount that planetary back on, get it trued up, and then go from there and just keep getting it to fit. And once that's fitting great, then the next step is obviously I took this apart, cleaned up the inside of that. Wasn't really a whole lot to do. Everything looked really good. Put it back together. And so then I need to take these bands, which is right here. Come on, light. There we go. I need to take these bands, clean them all up, and put them back in the same order here. So I got to put bands in, that plate on, then I got to stick the planetary system, which I got to assemble it back together, put that back on, then I got to put another band, well, not a band, but housing on it, and then bands, and just keep layering it like a big sandwich. And then, yeah, hopefully I don't crush my fingers, because that's heavy.
All right, let's take a minute to talk about work clothes. Work clothes is important. You want to feel good, you want to be comfortable while you're working, you want to be warm, and you might want to look good too while you're at it, especially when you come home to the wife, covered in oil. The work clothes is important. Just don't wash those clothes at home. Make sure you have a separate washer at your shop. That's a good idea. But with that said, today's video sponsor is Brunt Workwear. And Brunt Workwear has been a sponsor of our channel for a while. I love their gear. This is the Shelvin hoodie. Really warm, really tough, durable. Love the pockets. I also have the pants. Workwear pants are tough. A lot of pockets in them. Been wearing these things a bunch. They just keep holding up to everything I put them through, which is awesome. Also sporting the socks, as you can see, because you got to have the whole package. But really today I'm talking about the boots. And these are the Marins. I've had these Marins for about 6 months. I will say these are the best boots I've ever owned. These are made in the USA. As you can see, they got the USA flags on them with globally and domestic sourced components. They're water resistant, fire resistant. They've got a Goodyear welt on it, which can be resoled. Real tough, real heavy. I've been putting these things to the paces. They just keep kicking, just keep doing their job. Great boots. When you order your boots, they come in a nice box like this. A little information on the soles. You've got different options. You can pick and choose. The best part is this right here. Doesn't that dark leather look good? Oh, it smells good too. It's time to try them on. Cue the music. If you're in the market for some new workwear or some work boots, I highly recommend checking out Brunt's USA-made Marins. These are the 6-inch welted with a composite toe. If you go to bruntworkwear.com/Welker10 or use the promo code Welker10 to get $10 off your first order, that's awesome. And they also have a whole bunch of other boots you can check out, but these ones are my favorites by far. All right, let's get back to it.
So I was looking around in the toolbox and I was trying to find, because the key that I have, which is, now I lost it. Anyways, I had a key that goes in here to lock the cam lock. It was too short and I need an extension, so I went to go get a 1/2-inch end wrench. And I grabbed this wrench out of the toolbox and it's broken. It's been sitting in the toolbox forever. So I welded it all shut, so now it doesn't move, so I can just crank on it. But then I started looking on it. It's like an old vintage Snap-on made in the USA. So we got ourselves a Snap-on wrench. I actually don't have very much Snap-on inside the shop. So now, I was watching some videos. A guy was doing this. He said instead of going multiple times, just slowly turn them in and just keep rotating them to get a little bit tighter and pull that chuck in. Don't get them super snug. And I don't know if this is the correct way of doing it, but once you get them all pretty good, then you can reef on a little bit more to get it all centered. It's kind of like a bolt pattern on a wheel. You don't want to just hit one really hard because the wheel might be at an angle and you tighten it down and the other ones can't get it to sit right, and then you're driving down the road and let's just say bad things happen. So I don't really want bad things to happen. So let's try to get this to work like it should. Oh yeah. Now, the next step I need to do is take my rubber mat, set that down. I need to blow this out. Grab my 5-inch live center with a 70, pretty sure it's a 70 degree or 75 degree cone on it. So crank that out a little bit. Slam that in there, perfect. And take that, rotate that down, and just keep going. The worst thing about knowing a decent amount of stuff, then you don't really have an excuse not to do it. Those that don't know a lot kind of have an excuse not to do it. Don't make that an excuse. Don't wait on somebody else to figure it out. Sometimes you got to figure it out. Oh, perfect. It'll fit. Take this off. Run this over. And that looks pretty good there. Now, I got to get this centered up pretty decent. Okay. Well, I got it really close. I think it's about as good as it's going to get because I've been doing this for quite a few minutes. So I got a micrometer there, or no, dial indicator, sorry. I apologize, my brain doesn't remember words and stuff. Anyways, dial indicator there and there on both sides, got them pretty darn true, let's put it that way. And now I'm gonna barely shave off just a tiny bit on this side. I'm gonna go over and measure the diameter of this and the diameter of that. And like I said, I'm guessing 2/1000, maybe 3/1000 is all I really need. It's right there. So anyways, that's the plan. All right, now. So I've taken off about 4/1000 and it's still a little tight. So basically what I did over here is I measured. I know a lot of you guys are gonna yell at me, I don't have the right tools, which I've ordered a couple. They're on their way, I just don't have them. Anyways, I measured the inside of that and then I took it down from 5.3 was it on the dot, and now I'm 5.296. So I'm gonna do, when I put this in there, it feels pretty good. So when this barely slides over that, I'm done. That's all I want to go. And we're not quite there. So I'm probably gonna have to take off another 2/1000. So that scale right there is so awesome. I think that's what you call it, a scale. Digital readout. So I zeroed it out from where I was on the original pass. And then I took it down 4/1000. And now I'm gonna take it down another, let's just try 2/1000 and see what it does. Doesn't take much. Man, it's really sensitive. So if I go to 4, I need to go to 6. 6/1000. Right there on the dot. Perfect. Okay. Not quite there, so I'm gonna take another, probably another 2/1000, maybe, I better do 1,000. Boy, that's not much. It's hardly anything, but like I said, I got one shot of this. I'd rather take a little bit at a time so I don't screw up and destroy this. All right, let's take another 1,000. It's not quite there. So now we're at 8/1000. Boy, that's close. I think I'm gonna leave it. I like it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna taper the edge just a little bit on this when I slide it in. It'll have a slight cone, just a tiny little bit, so that we're not scarring up the new bushing or bearing or whatever you wanna call that thing. Drive shaft, drive line, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But let's just round it off slightly and then polish it up. Don't worry, I'm gonna deep burr it. I won't forget that. Let's find out and see if it'll go in like it's supposed to. Holy, that's a tight fit. I don't know if it's too tight, but it spins. I should probably put a little bit of lube on there. I had, where was that? There it is. A tiny bit of hydraulic oil. Very fine coating. There we go. That feels pretty good. I think that's good. And if it's a little too tight, if it's just a tiny bit too tight, it'll eventually wear itself in. And my thought process is the bronze will probably get forced and pushed a little tighter with this thing spinning, so it'll create a little bit of slop in there. I think it's going to probably do a tiny bit of that, and that'll give me the clearance, but it slides in. So I think we are good on that. Now the next step is assemble this beast. So what did I say? 8 thousandths I think it took off? Yeah, I think it was 8 thousandths total. Been drinking a lot of water lately. For like a month and a half, I've been drinking a gallon of water a day. Feels good, just not when I have to pee. So you guys, you stay out of here. Yeah. Oh, it's a little chilly outside. I got a little chilly too. Maybe I'm just a pansy. But this nice sweatshirt, it's comfy. All right, this right here is called a piston, according to the book. They've got a little piston ring. It's kind of like a, I don't know what it's called or what it's made out of. It's kind of unique. I mean, it literally looks like a piston ring. So I put a little bit of hydraulic oil inside there, lubed it up, so that way when I slides in, hopefully I don't scar it up. And I'm gonna put this on, and then the next set of bands, I need to clean up and stick them on. Now, I purposely set these all up upside down in the box, and they're in order. So basically, when I need to, take the first one off, clean it, flip it, and just set it right back down on top. So they're all in the same order, same. Yeah, hopefully I don't get this mixed up, and I don't think it's really going to matter much, but let's install this piston ring, or the piston and the ring. So now how this works is there's an oil port right here. When the transmission shifts into gear, or the valve body, it opens a valve, runs fluid inside, fills up that piston, and it pushes it up, which then pushes against all these bands and also this ring gear. Now then, what it does is that ring gear then connects with all of the planetary gears inside of this housing, and that's where you get your different gears shifted. I don't know how it really works, but it works. It's somehow they did 4 forward gears and 3 in reverse. Pretty fascinating how they figured it out. All right, let's clean those bands up. So what I'm doing here is there's a bunch of this residue, it's like aluminum almost, that was left on here from original destruction of this transmission. This actually kind of looks like a little bit of metal chunks too. But anyways, taking it, putting the solvent tank, washing it off, taking it over the sink, rinse off all the solvent, and then I blow it off really good, make sure it's clean, and then I'll put a little bit of hydraulic fluid on it, and then assemble it. It's working. So inside this little container is the ball bearings that keep the pins from rotating. There's a little slot that's machined out. It's actually kind of a cool idea because you don't want the pins to rotate in the cast piece. You want it to stay in one spot. Right there is a little tiny hole. They got a slot machined inside here, so when the pin goes in, you put that little ball bearing in, it stops it from rotating side to side. That way it doesn't wear out each end on the cast or the pin. It lets the ball bearings, or not the ball bearings, but the needle bearings, which are these right here, which I inspected every single one of them. They look really good. In fact, I I was expecting way worse on this. I'm not even concerned about putting it together. It's like, it'll work. But anyways, you want those to rotate on the shaft, not on the shaft rotating on the housing. So it's working out pretty good. And then what I'm doing here is I'm adding a little bit of hydraulic oil on those roller bearings as I assemble it. Now they've got these washers here that space it so that way the sprocket doesn't just ride on the housing and wear into the housing. And so I've got to put a washer on each side. So then I'm going to line it up with that little tiny hole. My hands are so oily I can't really show you in great depth, but you're just going to have to trust me. I know what I'm doing, I think. So right here, that's where the ball bearing goes to lock it in. So as I slide it in like that, take one of these ball bearings and then rotate this until I find that little hole, set the ball bearing in it, and then push it in. Okay. There we go. It's together. So far I don't see anything really concerning. Put it together pretty well. It's kind of a complicated mess, but saying that, to fix this, basically just clean it up, make new bushings. And so I probably have in materials, maybe 250 bucks. Yeah, about 250 bucks. So $250 to fix that, not including the lathe, which was awesome. Okay, yeah, it took a little while to clean all the bands, and obviously I lubricated everything really well, and I think I'm gonna tighten those up a little bit more, let it sit. I'll come back tomorrow and tighten them up, and then that baby pretty much be ready to drop into the transmission housing. But I got to do stuff to the transmission housing, so it can just sit there. But cool. Got it.
Well, I'm back in the shop. It's nice to be in the shop because it was 14 below this morning. We had a cold weather situation come through the last couple days, and the wind was out of the north. It was like 35, 40 below. Wind chill factor, so it's really nice being in the shop, keeping it about 55. That's comfortable enough to work in it. But what I've been doing, Nick's gone for a little bit. Scott had something to do, so it's just me in the shop. But what we're doing here, as I told you before, is just a number of things needed to be spruced up, upgraded in the shop that had been put off, and I showed you some of the things, but I finished trimming all the metal support beams in this older part of the shop. As you can see,
I'm just finishing this last one. Then I'm going to redo this bench unit here. A number of things are going to get taken off. And then this stand, just going to show it to you guys. This was built by my grandfather. He was born, let's see, I think it was, before the 1900s. And yeah, I'd have to get the date. I'm kind of fuzzy on what he was. But yeah, he was about 95 when he died. So yeah, that would have put him in the 1890, 1888 or something like that. But anyway, in about 1965, whatever, he liked just to work around in his shop. So he built this out of wood. And we've used it on the farm. It's a cabinet, very simple, wood frames, but back then my grandmother worked at a lunch program at a school, and of course they got a lot of canned goods, and these were the cans they got right here, as you can see. Well, he spent the time, cut them in half, soldered them each half together, and then made metal trays out of every one of these drawers. And they slide well, and so we use them for a lot of different size bolts, other things that we don't use very often. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. You knew I could count to 9. I got 10. I could have had one more. 9 drawers. And so I repainted this white. We're going to stick it back there in the storage room along one of those walls, and that way we can access, and I'll put tags on them to let them know I got to go through all these, sort it out. But those things have just been put off all these years, and finally decided, let's clean this up. So yeah, I got all that rebuilt, finished off, sealed. I'm going to have to wash the ceilings, and then I'll end up probably taking everything off that wall, repainting it, and because we changed that wall, we took a shelving unit that was just stuck there, and it just was accumulated. It just accumulated a lot of odds and ends and stuff, and so I painted it, and now we have a place for all our bands, the straps, some hitches, parts of chains. I mean, I just stuck stuff. So that cleaned this floor up. So more organized and looking good. So yeah, it's always good when you get done and you start looking at the what you've done. I said, man, that really makes everything sparkle. Well, feel a little blue, but happy blue. Okay, I'm going to get back. I'll finish painting that. I think I got a little trim right there to do, and that should finish this as far as all the blue. I think there'll be some more blue accenting I see that I might want to do. Maybe these railings for the door, paint that blue so that would accent off the white, and it's looking good. Okay, better get back to work.